everyone. Some people occupy Brooklyn in search of the ideal movement or the ideal spoken word or technology breakthrough. The two people you'll meet at this table shortly are in the business of offering ideal outfits to a special clientele, members of the gay, lesbian, and transgender community. Bindle Keep is their enterprise, and on June 20th, 2 weeks from tonight, HBO brings what they offer and who they service to national attention. Welcome to their world, the world of Suited.
No one contacts us and says, I want a fitting. They usually say, this is my story.
For a lot of people with all kinds of bodies and identities, clothes can make or break every day of their lives.
What makes us become a woman? I don't want to become a woman.
I don't want anyone to be like, there's curves on this body that don't make sense.
I don't love female pronouns, but I don't feel any more comfortable in male pronouns. I don't feel like any of it quite fits.
Even though life changes, I won't be alone.
I've never liked what I've seen. I really appreciate it.
I get to be whoever I want.
Everyone has a right to be themselves.
Girls co-star and creator Lena Dunham is among the executive producers of this documentary, and joining us now are the duo behind Bindle Keep, Tutera and Daniel Friedman. Welcome to BK Live.
Hi.
Ray, so how did Lena Dunham get involved with your shop?
So a couple of years ago, there was a feature on the work we're doing at Bindle Keep in the New York Times. And the boom operator for girls, Jason Benjamin, read that article and was really moved by the stories that were told in it about some of our clients. And he, after having recorded so many episodes of Girls and had, he'd cultivated an intimacy with Lena. And so she told him, if you ever read anything or think of anything that would be a beautiful, if you think might work for a film, pitch it to me. And so he pitched this New York Times feature on us. And he reached out to me, and it all sort of started there.
Daniel, I understand that this store, Bindle Keep, was not originally designed the way we just saw in that clip. When did the changeover take place?
Gradual and sudden. We designed it for cisgendered males, mostly Wall Street type suit buyers, and we just opened it up to everybody. And because we decided to serve every single body type, we made it a safe place for those who have been ostracized by the binary retail environment of the, in our culture.
So, Ray, how do you come up with the perfect, or as perfect as be possible, suit for someone, no matter where they come from? How do you figure out, you and your partner and the people working in your store, how do you figure out what works?
The most important thing is just to listen to every client. Every client, no matter how familiar they might seem, even if they remind me of myself, it's important to know that everyone has a totally different experience. So the way we craft these suits is by first, sitting down at a table and learning about these folks and how clothes have made them feel, how they want clothes to make them feel. And so it's really just, it's almost equally storytelling as much as it's the measurements.
And Daniel, how does that storytelling happen? What do the clients that you work with go through? Do they just open themselves up? Or does it take a while to sort of like say, okay, I get where you're coming from, I get what you want, and now I can make something for you?
Well, we are making something for people to feel good about themselves. So it's in everyone's interest to really explain what they're going through. We want to know what people's triggers are. We want to know how people feel about their bodies, feel about clothing, what the struggle has been. The more information that we have, the more informed the suit will be in its, in the final product. And that's very important.
Ray, what is very interesting about this special is that it doesn't just deal with how you operate this store, it's the people that you deal with. And they're people from all walks of life. First of all, how do you find these people? How do they find out about you?
In terms of our clients, or in terms of the clients specifically for the documentary?
In terms of the clients.
Okay.
Because they come from all over the place. They don't just come from here in Brooklyn. They come from all over New York City. They come from all over the world.
Yeah. Our clients originally were just finding us when they would Google. These are folks who are looking for a custom suiting environment that will welcome them and will have an affirming experience in. And mostly it was Google in the beginning. They would just find us through like really, elaborate searches. Once the New York Times article came out, that sort of allowed for more folks to find us. And then the beauty of this community is a lot of it is just word of mouth. So these folks find us through their friends recommending us and saying that they can trust us.
Daniel Jason Benjamin, who directed the film, did he have a set number of people he wanted to interview, or did you have any you and Ray have any input in terms of who the clients were interviewed for this film?
We had a lot of input. Remember, each client has to reach out to us before they can get a fitting, and we would look at what people would write, exactly like the preview, the trailer that we just saw, how people write and what their struggle is. That's actually from our website, and we would look at that and decide, whose story was compelling in the sense that it would be right for, the documentary, and then we would get back to the clients, ask them, if this would be okay if we send it off to HBO to look at, and once we got their approval, we sent it off to Jason, and then he would interview each of our cast members or our subjects.
Now, Ray, there is a Brooklyn story within this Brooklyn story. And the Brooklyn story I'm talking about is a cab driver named Mel.
Yeah, Mel.
He is one of the people that's profiled in this special. And he is someone who you might call, or at least he calls himself, a not gender neutral.
Yeah, Mel's non-binary.
But non-binary.
Yeah.
Or gender fluid.
Yes.
Explain what that is. That's the first time I have ever heard of that. I know transgender, gay,
Sure.
lesbian. But this is not, this is maybe, I understand maybe a growing number of people who feel this way, that they have to traverse between the genders?
Sure. Well, so I'm also non-binary, so I can speak to this from my own experience rather than just talking about Mel. I think that generally, the universe of transness and queerness that is visible to folks outside of that community is binary, which is to say, a lot of folks that we see identify, comfortably within sort of the dynamic of a male-female or woman-man sort of landscape, gender landscape. But that for a lot of folks is more of a spectrum, and there are people who don't identify as a man or a woman exactly, or maybe they identify with some elements of being a woman or some elements of being a man, or with masculinity or femininity, and those things are sort of always shifting, and it's more dynamic for some folks.
So for Daniel, with somebody like that who is more, as you just said, Ray, more dynamic, how does that impact how you make the suit?
It doesn't. We make the suit for every single type of body and the needs that are specific for every individual. So just because someone is non-binary or gender, non-conforming, that has nothing to do with anything other than we just talk about how they feel about their body and the triggers that might be involved in what you're, in putting on a suit on someone. And you can have someone who is, cisgendered male who has a lot of triggers, and you can have someone who is, transmasculine, has different triggers. But everyone has triggers about their body, and we just respond to those feelings and what people are sensitive to.
When they get that suit, whoever the client is, whatever the background is, when they get that suit, when they try it on, as we saw in that clip, something transformative happens with them. Can you identify that? How real is it for you when you see a moment like that, when they put that suit on for the first time?
Nervousness.
Yeah, we're always nervous. Well, the thing about that moment is it's actually very private. So when we're doing these fittings, I think it's important for these clients to see themselves in something that fits for the first time. And as much as it's also important for them to have a witness to that experience, I think it's really important that they try to try to navigate that on their own, so they're really having their own experience there. It's a transformative moment because I think that a lot of people, and I had this experience myself when I put on my first custom suit, I'd never really seen the true silhouette of my body. So I think it's a very vulnerable moment, and I think it's something that makes Daniel and I very nervous because we want to be supportive in that moment. And the moment we started filming this documentary, we realized the stakes became higher because we were trying to capture something that is so intimate and so private. Yeah.
What do both of you hope the public at large sees from this special 2 weeks from tonight? What do you hope they get about not just what you do, the service you provide, but the community or communities that you deal with?
The thing that I always say is just that I hope that this film Even though it's like a very small glimpse into the LGBTQ community, I hope that it reminds people that it's everyone's birthright to be themselves, and that they should be, families should love each other. That's really my takeaway from it. Daniel, do you?
I have two.
Yeah.
One of them is that, and we've discussed this a few times, I think that it shows possibility models in the sense that people will see all across the country, hopefully all over the world, can see what's okay and what you can be, or what's potential. And everyone can be themselves and grow up into themselves. We also want to show that companies all across the country, and every single capacity, depending on what their business, every single business field of business, they can really open up and be open to every single type of person, and they can grow a business doing it, and it's safe to do that, and hopefully will influence companies in that way.
It's really great that HBO has decided to put this Brooklyn story together, and a very special time, by the way, particularly for this network because of the special town hall dealing with the gay, lesbian, transgender community that'll be coming up later this week. So I want to thank both of you, Ray, Daniel, on June 14th. So please check that out, all of you. Check out BK Live, and those of you who watch us on BRIC TV, locally on cable, and nationally via YouTube. Ray Tutera, Daniel Friedman, thank you both again for joining us. All the very best with the documentary, and all the very best, more importantly, with your work.
Thank you. We appreciate
Great
it.
stuff. HBO premieres soon, 2 weeks from tonight, June 20th, 9 p.m. Replays at various times in mid-July on HBO, HBO Go, and HBO On Demand as well. You can learn more about this documentary at www.hbo.com. Freeform will launch 2 drama series this month. Guilt, a murder mystery which may trigger memories of the Amanda Knox trial, debuts 1 week from tonight. Creator and executive producer Catherine Price joins me live from London in a few hours on Tomorrow Be Televised. We'll also bring you Travis Nicholson, the co-star, co-executive producer, and writer of Still the King, the new Billy Ray Cyrus dramedy on CMT. 3 p.m. right here on Blog Talk Radio.